10 businesses the rich quietly own they'll never admit. Have you ever wondered why some ordinary people in your neighborhood are quietly wealthy while others with impressive job titles struggle financially? The answer lies in what they own, not what they earn. While most Americans chase high-profile investments, a silent group of millionaires builds wealth through businesses. So ordinary, you'd never notice them. Here's a shocking truth. 91% of self-made millionaires own at least one unglamorous, invisible business that generates steady cash flow month after month. These aren't tech startups or luxury brands. They're everyday businesses that solve everyday problems. But the real path to financial freedom often looks nothing like what we see on TV or social media. In fact, many of the wealthiest people I know deliberately avoid drawing attention to their most profitable ventures. Today, I'm pulling back the curtain on 10 invisible businesses that the truly wealthy quietly own. Businesses that generate consistent cash flow without requiring constant attention or specialized skills. And business number 10 might completely surprise you. It's an industry that over 65% of millionaires have investments in, yet almost no one recognizes it as the wealth-building powerhouse it truly is. If you're tired of working harder without getting ahead financially, type real business in the comments and stay with me. Let's discover the first business that's been quietly creating millionaires for decades. Property management companies, the hidden cash flow machine. When most folks think about getting rich in real estate, they immediately picture owning apartment buildings or rental homes. They dream about collecting rent checks while properties appreciate. But here's what's fascinating. Many wealthy individuals skip the headaches of property ownership altogether and instead own something far more profitable: property management companies. This is one of wealth's best-kept secrets. Instead of dealing with tenant calls at 2 a.m. about broken toilets, the truly savvy make money by managing other people's headaches. They collect fees from both property owners and tenants, creating multiple revenue streams without the enormous capital outlay of buying real estate. What's remarkable is how accessible this business is. You can start a property management company with just a few $1,000s, the right certifications, which vary by state, and some hustle to sign your first few clients. Even managing 20 to 30 properties can generate six figures annually with the right fee structure. Or, if you prefer, invest in an existing management company as a silent partner. Many owners are looking for capital to expand. While everyone else continues chasing property ownership, let's look at the second business that wealthy individuals quietly dominate. One that generates weekly cash with minimal technology risk and almost no competition. Laundromats, the humble cash cow. When I mention laundromats, most people roll their eyes. Those dingy places with fluorescent lighting and plastic chairs. They ask, exactly, and therein lies their beauty. The wealthy understand that sometimes the most unattractive businesses create the most attractive returns, especially when they fulfill a basic, unchanging human need. Here's the truth about laundromats that financial media will never tell you. Properly located laundromats can generate 20 to 30% annual returns on investment with remarkably little effort. They operate largely on autopilot, require minimal staff, and create weekly cash flow that's largely recession-proof. After all, people need clean clothes in good economic times and bad. Consider James, a former corporate attorney who left his high-stress career at 52. Everyone thought I was having a midlife crisis when I bought 3 laundromats. He laughed. They couldn't understand why I'd downgrade from law to laundry. Today, his 6 locations generate over $400,000 in annual profit with just one part-time manager and occasional maintenance visits. I work maybe 5 hours a week now and make more than I did working 80 hours in law. The philosophical insight here is profound. True wealth often comes not from chasing status or complexity, but from owning simple businesses that solve everyday problems. While others pursue glamorous startups that might succeed or fail spectacularly, the wealthy often prefer humble businesses with decades-long track records of steady returns. If you're interested in laundromats, begin by visiting locations in stable middle-class neighborhoods. Look for opportunities where current owners are approaching retirement or where facilities need modernization. With as little as $200,000, often financeable, you could acquire a business that generates $50,000 plus in annual cash flow, a return that will require millions invested in traditional assets. Now, let's explore the third business that the wealthy quietly own, one that looks like nothing special from the outside, but creates extraordinary profit margins with minimal daily involvement. The simplest business model. Have you noticed self-storage facilities popping up everywhere? Those plain metal buildings surrounded by simple fencing might be the most understated wealth generators in America. What looks like ugly metal boxes on concrete pads is actually a business model so profitable that it's created numerous millionaires and even several billionaires. Here's the reality that most investors miss. Self-storage has outperformed almost every other real estate sector for the past 3 decades. Why? The formula is brilliantly simple. Very low construction costs, minimal maintenance expenses, virtually no inventory or staff costs. And best of all, once customers store their belongings, they tend to stay for years, creating predictable, long-term revenue with remarkably little turnover. The philosophical lesson here is powerful. Simplicity often trumps complexity in business. While tech entrepreneurs chase complicated solutions requiring constant upgrades and adaptation, self-storage succeeds precisely because it's so basic. People accumulate stuff. They need somewhere to put it. That fundamental equation hasn't changed in decades and likely won't in our lifetime. Are you finding these insights eye-opening? Type eye-opener in the comments if you're discovering business models you never considered before. Let me know which one intrigues you most so far. The ultimate automated business. Think about the last time you drove through an automatic car wash. Did you realize you were experiencing one of the most efficient wealth-building machines ever created? While most people see only soap and water, the wealthy see a beautiful business model that generates cash flow with almost no human intervention. The brilliance of modern automatic car washes lies in their near-perfect automation. Unlike most businesses that require constant staffing, today's tunnel and touchless washes can operate with minimal employees, sometimes completely unmanned during business hours. Even better, customers literally line up and pay before receiving any service, creating perfect cash flow timing. What's particularly fascinating is the psychological aspect of car washes. They satisfy what behavioral economists call the immediate gratification impulse. Customers can see visible results in minutes, creating a satisfaction that leads to repeat business and loyalty programs that generate predictable revenue. Many owners report that their regular customers visit 2 to 3 times monthly, creating annuity-like income. If you're interested in this business, look for existing locations with outdated equipment but good traffic patterns. The modernization approach often provides better returns than building from scratch. Start by talking with equipment suppliers, who often know which locations in your area might be available or underperforming. Let's look at our 5th business, one so ingenious that you've likely used it hundreds of times without ever considering who owns it or how profitable it might be. The silent money makers. Every time you withdraw cash from an ATM that's not affiliated with your bank, you pay a convenience fee, typically $2.50 to $4. Have you ever wondered where that money goes? It doesn't all go to the bank. In fact, most standalone ATMs in convenience stores, restaurants, and hotels are owned by private individuals who collect those fees directly. This is perhaps the most overlooked business model that creates substantial wealth for those in the know. While everyone sees ATMs, almost nobody considers them as an investment vehicle. Yet independent ATM owners routinely generate 20 to 30% annual returns on their investment with remarkably little ongoing work. Margaret, a nurse approaching retirement, learned about ATM ownership from a patient. He mentioned he owned several machines as a side business, she recalled. I was intrigued because it seemed so simple. Starting with just 2 machines placed in local businesses, she gradually expanded to 35 ATMs across her metropolitan area. Each machine averages about 300 transactions monthly, and I make about $2.50 per transaction in profit, she explained. Do the math. That's over $25,000 monthly for machines that require maybe 10 hours of maintenance total. The philosophical insight here is profound. Often the best businesses aren't new or revolutionary. They're established models hiding in plain sight that most people never consider. While countless entrepreneurs chase the next big tech innovation, The wealthy often prefer proven business models that quietly generate cash day after day, year after year. Starting an ATM business requires less capital than you might think, as little as $2,500 per machine plus cash to stock it. The key is securing high-traffic locations through revenue-sharing agreements with business owners. Many owners receive 50 to 75 cents per transaction for simply providing space for your machine. Now, let's examine our sixth business model, one that operates literally behind the scenes but creates consistent, contract-based income that the wealthy love: the invisible profit centers. Office buildings, medical facilities, schools, and factories. What do they all have in common? They need regular cleaning, typically after hours when nobody's watching. Commercial cleaning might seem unglamorous, but it represents one of the most stable business models with long-term contracts, predictable revenue, and surprisingly strong profit margins. Here's what makes commercial cleaning so attractive to the wealthy: recurring revenue based on contracts that typically run 1 to 3 years. Unlike many businesses that must constantly chase new customers, a well-run cleaning company can build a stable client base that provides consistent monthly income for years. Even better, many clients never switch providers unless there are service problems, creating near-perpetual revenue streams. The wealthy understand a fundamental truth about business: glamour and profit are often inversely related. The less glamorous the business, the less competition, and the higher the potential returns. Commercial cleaning epitomizes this principle. While everyone wants to create the next social media app, few are willing to build businesses that operate after hours, doing work most people avoid. Starting a commercial cleaning company requires minimal capital, perhaps $5,000 to $10,000 for equipment and supplies. The real key is developing systems for quality control and employee management. Focus initially on small professional offices that require consistent, detail-oriented service, then expand to larger facilities as your reputation grows. Micro purchases, macro profits. Every day, millions of Americans insert money into vending machines for snacks, beverages, and other small items. These seemingly insignificant $1 to $3 purchases add up to an industry generating over $23 billion annually. And here's what most people never realize: the majority of vending machines aren't owned by large corporations, but by individual investors and small companies quietly collecting quarters and dollars that transform into substantial wealth. The vending machine business model offers something rare in today's economy: true passive income with relatively low startup costs. Modern machines can alert owners when product are low or when technical issues arise, minimizing physical visits. Even better, today's cashless payment options have increased average purchases by 25 to 35%, according to industry data. Michael, a former postal worker, started with just 3 used snack machines placed in local auto repair shops. I serviced them on weekends initially, he explained. As profits grew, I added more machines and eventually quit my job. Today, he owns over 120 machines, generating approximately $400,000 in annual revenue with 45% profit margins. I have 2 part-time helpers who restock most locations, he said. I focus on finding new placements and managing relationships with location owners. Have you noticed how many of these unsexy businesses follow similar patterns? They provide simple solutions to everyday needs, operate largely without public attention, and create consistent cash flow with minimal technology risk. While trendy businesses come and go, these fundamentals remain unchanged decade after decade. You can enter the vending business with as little as $1,500 to $3,000 for a quality used machine. Focus on securing locations with captive audiences, places where people spend time but have limited food options nearby. Split revenue with location owners, typically 15 to 25%, to secure prime spots and build from there. How many of these businesses did you know about before today? Type the number in the comments. I'm curious which ones are new discoveries for you. Virtual office services and co-working spaces, profiting from the remote work revolution. While everyone was busy talking about the future of remote work, the wealthy were quietly positioning themselves to profit from it. Virtual office services and co-working spaces represent a brilliant business model that generates multiple revenue streams from a single location. and the pandemic has only accelerated their growth potential. Here's what makes this business particularly clever. Unlike traditional commercial real estate that depends on single long-term tenants, virtual office and co-working businesses create income from membership fees, meeting room rentals, mail handling services, phone answering services, and premium amenities. Some successful operators generate 5 to 7 different revenue streams from the same square footage. Patricia, a commercial real estate investor, pivoted during the 2008 recession when traditional leasing became difficult. I converted a struggling office building into flexible workspace, she explained. Instead of hoping for one tenant to lease 10,000 square feet, I created a model where hundreds of small businesses and freelancers pay for exactly what they need. Her locations now generate nearly triple the revenue per square foot compared to traditional office leasing. The wealthy recognize emerging trends early and position themselves to benefit rather than resist change. While many property owners complain about declining demand for traditional offices, others reimagine how space could be used in the new economy. What's particularly appealing about this business is its scalability. You can start small by leasing a modest space and subdividing it, or even by creating a virtual office business that provides mail handling and call answering services without physical workspace initially. As you build a client base and understand the market, you can expand into full co-working facilities. Now let's examine our 9th business model. One that leverages people's desire for small pleasures and creates remarkable profit margins from products that never go out of style. High margins on simple pleasures. When you picture a millionaire's business, a liquor store probably isn't the first thing that comes to mind. Yet specialty beverage retailers represent one of the most consistently profitable business models, with surprising resilience against both economic downturns and online competition. The wealthy understand something fundamental. People will always seek small indulgences, regardless of economic conditions. What makes specialty liquor and beverage stores particularly attractive is their exceptional profit margins combined with inventory that literally improves with age. Unlike most retail where products lose value over time, fine wines and spirits often increase in value. Even more importantly, these stores generate remarkable cash flow. Customers pay immediately, while suppliers often provide 30 to 60-day payment terms, creating a positive cash conversion cycle that can fund growth. The wealthy approach these businesses with a different mindset than typical owners. Rather than simply selling products, they create experiences, offering tastings, education, and hard-to-find selections that command premium prices. They understand that people don't just buy beverages. They buy knowledge, distinction, and sometimes status. Starting in this industry requires navigating licensing requirements, but the barriers to entry create valuable protection once established. Look for existing stores where owners are approaching retirement, or consider focusing on specialized niches like natural wines, craft spirits, or non-alcoholic alternatives that are showing tremendous growth. And finally, let's explore the 10th business, perhaps the stealthiest wealth generator that's literally hiding in plain sight along every major roadway in America. The last true media monopolies. Every time you drive past a billboard, someone is collecting rent money, and it's rarely the advertising company whose name you see at the bottom. Outdoor advertising assets represent one of the most closely guarded wealth secrets among the ultra-affluent. While everyone focuses on digital advertising, the wealthy continue accumulating physical advertising locations that generate extraordinary cash flow with minimal ongoing costs. Here's the shocking truth about billboard ownership. A single well-placed billboard can generate $40,000 to $200,000 in annual revenue, while costing just $2,000 to $5,000 yearly to maintain once constructed. Even more remarkable, outdoor advertising remains one of the few media channels that can't be skipped, blocked, or easily ignored, creating premium value in an age of fragmented attention. Robert, a retired airline pilot, shared how he began acquiring billboard locations in his 40s. I started with a single billboard on land I already owned near a highway, he explained. The returns were so compelling that I began focusing on securing more locations. Today, he owns 43 billboard sites generating over $1.8 million annually in almost pure profit. The beautiful part is that I'm not creating the ads or dealing with advertisers. I lease the entire structures to major outdoor advertising companies who handle everything except basic maintenance. While most people chase trendy investments, the truly wealthy often focus on assets that benefit from unchanging human behavior. People will always travel roads, and their eyes will naturally be drawn to large, colorful messages along their route, a fundamental that hasn't changed in over a century of advertising evolution. Starting in this business doesn't require millions. You can begin by identifying potential locations along busy roads, securing long-term ground leases from property owners, obtaining permits, often the most challenging part, and then either constructing billboards yourself or partnering with established outdoor advertising companies who will handle construction and advertising sales in exchange for revenue sharing. So there you have it. 10 unsexy businesses that quietly create millionaires while rarely making headlines or appearing in social media success stories. Each one follows similar principles. They fulfill persistent needs, generate strong cash flow, require relatively modest starter capital, and operate with limited technology risk. While everyone else chases the next big thing, the wealthy continue building fortunes through these proven models that have stood the test of time. Which of these 10 businesses intrigue you most? I'd love to know which one you might consider exploring further. The wealthy have always understood that real prosperity rarely comes from what's trendy or exciting. Instead, it flows from businesses that solve everyday problems, fulfill basic needs, and operate with remarkable consistency year after year, regardless of economic conditions. These boring businesses are the silent engines behind many family fortunes that have endured for generations. Comment Wealth Business below if you're ready to start exploring these hidden cash flow machines instead of chasing the next shiny object. Your comment helps others discover these strategies and lets me know which of these business models resonated most with you. If you found value in today's revelations, hit that subscribe button right now and turn on notifications. Every Wednesday, I share wealth-building strategies that you won't hear about from mainstream financial media. Strategies that have stood the test of time while flashier approaches have come and gone. Remember, true wealth isn't built through complexity or status. It's built through ownership of simple businesses that solve everyday problems people will always have. As my mentor once told me, the more boring the business looks from the outside, the more exciting the profits often look on the inside. The wealthy have understood this truth for generations, and now, so do you.